Dancing with the divine. How am I going to work that into what's happening in the world right now? And then I realized we are dancing. It is this movement of energy back and forth. That's what a dance is, right? It moves the energy back and forth, and that's what's happening in our world right now. We have energy moving one way, and we have energy moving another way, and sometimes that energy comes together, and a bit of conflict ensues with that. And so always our opportunity is to look at what's happening there and take it back to spiritual truth. Take it back to spiritual truth. Right now in our world, it feels like there's a power struggle. It feels like there's this need to dominate and control, and this need to rebel against it. And it doesn't matter which side you think is right or wrong, and it doesn't matter whether you're left or right or red or blue or whatever that affiliation that you want to claim is. There is a tension happening. There is a tension that's happening that the sides are meeting and things are showing up for us. You know, one of the things that I've come to realize very clearly through all of this is the need for us to, the need for some people to focus on how we are divided instead of how we are united. I was just reading a blog post earlier this week about, it was a survey taken in 2024, so it's very recent, and they took 100 policy points, and they rated the Republicans and the Democrats on how many of them agreed with each one. What was surprising to me was that all of them were more than 50%, and that there weren't any of them that was more than a 10% difference. And so what that showed me is that we are much more alike in our belief system than we are in opposition to it. But here's the caveat. Unity doesn't sell. Divisiveness sells. Faith and love, that doesn't sell too well. Fear and anger, you can get people to tune into that. You can get people to turn their TVs to that. You can get people to find that on social media. Fear and anger and hatred and divisiveness sells. And unfortunately, we have people in our world who have a love of money that is leading to a false sense of power and a false sense of control. And so where are they putting their money? Where the things sell. We are seeing much more divisiveness on anything that we watch on TV, anything that we turn our attention to on social media. We will see thousands of examples of anger, fear, hatred, divisiveness. But nobody's out there building mass weapons of harmony. Nobody is flying drones over the country looking for unity. And nobody's loading their assault rifles with peace bullets, because those don't sell. So they're focusing on all of the ways that we're different. And so for us, our opportunity is always to go back to our spiritual principles. Go back to what it is we truly believe, and allow that to be our guiding force. So let's look at our very first principle. This is from the Declarations of Principles, written in 1928, by our founder, Ernest Holmes. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, self-existent cause. That one manifests itself in, through, and as all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of the living Spirit. Everything is God. There is only one. Oneness. And if there is only one, how many powers can there possibly be? One. One power, one presence, one divine creative source of all. That one is where we put our attention. That one is where we take it back to truth every time we are faced with any example of hatred or fear or anger or divisiveness. We turn our attention back to God. Because what do we think has power in the world other than God? What are we giving power to other than God? If we believe there is an evil out there, we are giving it power to work. But if we can really believe in that one power, and not just believe it on an intellectual level, but have the experience of it. We have the experience of it through our spiritual practices. When we sit in contemplation and meditation, and we spend time communing with that holy presence, we feel it, and it becomes real inside of us. And that realness moves out into our day, so that when we are faced with challenges, it's going before us and preparing the way. As they say in the Bible, making the crooked places straight. Spirit is always there. It is the one power, the one presence. Any time that we turn our attention away from it and we give power to something else, we are believing in two powers. We have to then begin to heal our sense of separation. Begin to heal that within ourselves. Because as I said earlier, we are a lot more alike than we are divided. Where are we putting our attention? You know, we are encouraged every single day to believe that there is a power out there other than God. Everything you turn on TV, every newspaper you read, every time you turn on to social media, walking down the street, seeing signs, being in conversations or listening to somebody else while you're waiting in the doctor's office and you hear it. We are constantly being bombarded with a sense of separation, with a sense that there is a power out there other than God. And when we give belief to that, it has a place to operate. But when we give belief to Spirit, when we know that the place on which I stand is holy ground for God is there, then we give God a place to operate. And we can't tell what wondrous things will be coming through us when we allow ourselves to be that presence of the divine. Our task is always to be in the world, not hide away from it. We're not to go and sit in mountaintops and ohm the day away. That's not our job. Our job is to be in the world, but to not let the world consume us. Not be at the effect of everything that we see around us. Not be at effect of social media, not be at the effect of the news. To be in the world. Because when we're in the world, we give a place for God to show up. If we isolate ourselves, then God doesn't have room to work in the world. We believe that God moves through us. It is in us, as us, and around us at all times. In 1959, our founder, Ernest Holmes, was at the Asilomar Conference. It's probably July or August, we're not real sure, but he he gave a talk that has become very famous. It was called The Sermon by the Sea. You have some excerpts from it on the back of the prayer that I gave you. But in that talk, he said this: "Find me 1,000 people in the world who know what religious science is and use it and live it as it is, and I'll myself live to see a new world, a new heaven, and a new earth here." Religious science is the philosophy that we practice here. It's also sometimes called science of mind. It was founded in the early 20s by Ernest Holmes, who was a great synthesizer of all of the spiritual traditions. He could find what he called the golden threads of truth that run through all traditions. Nowadays, we would call it inner spirituality, where we find the best of all and we bring it into our experience. And so some of those best things that we practice is that one power, one presence, one divine creative mind of all. Some of the best things that we practice are prayer. We have a very fabulous form of affirmative prayer. You heard an example of it from Debbie this morning when she read it aloud to you. Our practitioners are skilled at giving you a spiritual mind treatment, an affirmative prayer for whatever condition you're experiencing. It is a very powerful tool to help us remember truth. We have meditation, which gets us right into connection with Spirit. Our meditation is the way that we experience God. It's the way that all sense of separation dissolves from us, and we see that unity of life through our practice of sitting in the silence, of being still and know that I am God. That I, in the midst of me, is mighty. That there is only this one power and this one presence. One of the Sufi mystics I've studied in the past is Hazrat Khan. And he says this: the solution to the problem of the day is the awakening of consciousness of humanity to the divinity within. The solution to our problem is to wake up. And what are we waking up to? We're waking up to the realization that we are already the perfection of the divine. We are already all that God is. That power and that presence is in us right here and right now. And it is available to us at all times. To wake up the consciousness of humanity to the divinity within. To be that place where God shows up. Whatever spirit needs of me, I will be, I will be, I will be. That is always our task. Khan believed that our spiritual path was not about escaping this world. Again, we're not to go sit in the mountaintop and meditate the day away. But it's about awakening the world and being a channel ourselves for that divine love to move through. Another one of the great mystics that I've been spending time with is, I always have trouble with his name, Maharishi. He's a Hindu mystic. He says, your own self-realization is the greatest service you can render to the world. How many of you feel like you want to go out and do something right now? That you want to go forth and find something to do? When we have that feeling of wanting to fix the problem of this world, it begins with us. It begins with our own self-realization. And what are we to realize? We're to realize that the presence of the divine is right in us right now. Maharishi reminds us that we are here to be fully who we are. A child of the divine. We are to anchor ourselves in truth whenever we are faced with any appearance outside of that. Anchor ourselves in that truth. Not to withdraw from the world, but to be in the world and not of it. He calls this the highest form of activism. Now, being that place of peace can seem like it's a very passive activity. I'm just going to sit here and be peace. Well, what good does that do anybody, right? But everything begins within ourselves. If I take my presence that is not peace into a situation that is not peaceful, what am I going to get? More disturbance. But if I can be a place of peace and I walk into a situation of conflict, I don't know how far that peace can go. But I trust that it will happen. I trust that Spirit is on the job, moving through me to bring a resolve to the discord that I'm experiencing right now. The place on which I stand is holy ground, for God is there. And reminding myself of that truth in the midst of discord is the highest and holiest work that we can do. We are being invited every single day into a deeper relationship with peace. A deeper relationship with peace. Not a peace that just makes us feel comfortable. Especially if that comfort is at the expense of someone else. But that peace, as the master teacher says, the peace that passeth all understanding. That deep, abiding peace. That when you know it, and you know it, and you can never unknow it. It's not something far off. It's not something that we should be hoping the world should find. But it is a sacred dance that we have already been asked to join. With Spirit as our dance partner, we can move into that peace. The divine is extending its hand to us. Are we willing to accept the dance? Are we willing to be the partner with the divine and allow it to show up through us? In a world that feels so chaotic and fractured and aching right now, it can be difficult to believe that peace is possible in this situation without some big change happening. But our new thought principles teach us otherwise. We know that peace begins in our own consciousness, that I am the place where peace shows up. And from that place in consciousness, it radiates outward. It radiates through our thoughts, our words, our actions. I think it even radiates from the vibrations that come off of us. It is moving itself forth into expression. I don't have to know how it is. I just have to know that it's happening. But again, it's a dance. It's a dance of moving towards peace all the time. Engaging in that dance, being an active participant in it. It's not a destination, we get there and we're done. But it is a slow waltz, always allowing us to feel it in the depth of our bones. The energy of peace is not stillness. I think we erroneously think that, equate being still with being at peace. But the energy is different. Peace is palpable. It's movement. It's a dance of the divine, the highest order of the divine. It's not about the absence of anything, but it's about bringing the presence into it, being that place of peace. And so to dance with the divine, we need to listen to the rhythm of truth. What is the truth in the situation? Not the human truth, but the high and holy truth. We believe God is love, nothing else but love. We know that there is a way for everything to be resolved, and I don't even have to know how it happens. I just have to know that it is. We have to move in harmony with that divine love. We have to respond to challenges with grace, with compassion, with kindness. Because if we respond any other way, we meet resistance. But there's very little resistance to kindness. And we have to give up the need to control to lead the dance, to have that need of control that we often have. I remember early on in my dancing life wanting to be the lead in the dance, and I had to let that go because I couldn't my feet didn't allow me to do that. So it's like I gotta find somebody to follow in this dance that I'm doing in life. I need someone to show me the steps. And this is not about getting all the steps right all the time, but it's about trusting. It's about surrendering. It's about allowing the divine will to move through us. Rumi said it this way: dance when you're broken open. Dance if you've torn the bandage off. Dance in the middle of fighting. Remember, Rumi is the founder of the whirling dervishes. Dancing was very important to him. He received the word of God by dancing around a pole. All of his poems were written by scribes sitting around him on the floor as he twirled around a pole in his yard. He received the impress of spirit and spoke it out from his mouth as he danced. Because he surrendered to the divine. He didn't try to control the movements. He trusted. He was willing. And he allowed God to have a place to act up through him. Surrender, receptivity, trust. These are powerful attributes that we need to begin to work with more in our lives. We can do this in lots of different ways. I love to have things that remind me of it. I know you have heard me say lots of phrases over and over again because you know why? They remind me of the truth. They get me right down real quick, right to the truth. The place on which I stand is holy ground, for God is there. That means I'm bringing the presence of God into every situation I'm in. I don't have to worry about it. I can remember that truth whenever I feel any kind of discord. Bring that truth to mind. It's powerful. We use one that we close our services with that will help you remember that truth in pretty much any situation. There is only one life. That life is God, that life is perfect, and that life is my life now. You all know it. Use it when you feel distress. Use it when you are faced with discord, when you have fear come across you. Use these words. They are powerful. Take them into your meditation. Take them into your contemplation. Really begin to let that become alive inside of you and live from that place. And so some other things we can do is ask ourselves some good questions. Am I at peace with myself today? Check in. Am I at peace with myself today? Am I carrying resentments or fear? If I'm worked up over something I've seen on social media or I don't watch TV much, but I hear it every once in a while. If I'm worked up over something I've heard, I am not in any place of peace. I have got fear and resentment and anger and worry and doubt going on inside of me. So bring myself back to center. And then finally, where am I choosing not to trust God? Or what do I think has power out there other than God? Our greatest barrier to peace is the illusion of separation. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, self-existent cause. That one manifests itself in, through, and as all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of the living Spirit. What else could be operating but God? Bringing ourselves back to that truth. It's not passive. It's not lip service. It is a tried and true practice of every single mystic in the world. You listen to the great mystics. They weren't fighting. Some of the greatest mystics in all our time, Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr. Peaceful resistance. Peaceful. The moment we feel the need to fight, when we are in antagonism with anything, we have lost our sense of peace. So return to that. Bring it back to our center. Every act of kindness is an act of peace. Every moment that we are able to forgive somebody is an act of peace. Every time we choose to release judgment about something we've heard, that's an act of peace. Every time we decide, I'm not going to be afraid of this, that's an act of peace. Every time you choose love, regardless of the circumstances, is an act of peace. We have the opportunity in every single moment to be the place of peace. We don't know how it's going to move out into the world. But the great thing about Spirit is we don't have to know the how. We don't even have to know the when. We just have to know that it is. And that it's operating in our lives right here and right now. The place on which I stand is holy ground, for God is there. Let's take this into prayer. I invite our practitioners to stand and surround us. So take in a breath and let that breath be that place of peace within you. Let the breath moving through you be a tangible expression of a body that is at peace. Breathing in and out is giving and receiving. I receive peace. I give peace. And so right here and right now, I know that there is only one. One incredible love intelligence, one divine creative source of all, one power, one presence, one living spirit almighty. And I know that there is nothing else but it. That the presence of this one fills every single being. It is the very breath we breathe. And it is nearer than our hands and feet. The presence of the divine resides right in every single piece of creation. Every single one of us is that place where God shows up. And so knowing this truth, I know that right here and right now, each one of us is a vehicle for that peace to be expressed in this world. I know that the power and the presence of the one has instilled itself right in every single being. And that it is waiting for our recognition to allow it to be manifested in this world. And so our task is always to recognize that the place on which I stand is holy ground, for God is there. That I am willing to be that expression of the one. That I am willing to allow it to move forth into expression through me. And I release any need to control how it happens or when it happens. I just simply know that it does. I know that each one of us is an ambassador for peace. And I know that as we spend more time in our spiritual practices, that we are guided and directed to the right and appropriate steps for us in this moment to be that place where peace is felt in the world. And I'm so happy to know this. I'm so grateful to feel it in action right here and right now. And I just simply release this word into that law, into that creative mind, that cosmic consciousness that knows no limitations. I let it go and I let it be. And together we say, and so it is.